What is going on, everyone? We are back with another episode from our Raiders franchise in Madden 16. It is time to begin the offseason here. Season 4 offseason. We're going to go through re-signing players and then free agency. So a lot to be done today. Let's get straight into it. The retirees first. Mario Williams and Joe Thomas are going to retire. A lot of guys retiring. A lot of good players retiring. You see Greg Jennings on that list as well. So we're going to go through, highlight some of the big names that are going to be leaving us. Alex Smith is going to retire. A bit surprised to see him. Daniel Ellerbe also going to retire. Chris Long is going to retire. Ashley Palmer, Jed Collins from the Lions. Chris Ivory, the running back, he was a free agent, but he is going to retire. Dennis Pitta going to retire. Pierre Thomas, Justin Forsett, Darrell Revis, that is a big name. He's going to retire. Tamba Ali also going to be retired. Matt Forte, another huge name there as he decides to retire. Jordy Nelson on that list as well. Andre Ellington, Nate Washington. Who else? We got Alan Branch. Here are our retirees. Alan Branch, John Beason, and Jake Ryan have decided to retire, so we lose a lot of depth right there. That is 3 backups that we are no longer going to have. So now getting into re-sign players, I'm not going to re-sign Howard King. First one I'm going to go after is Nevin Lawson. Hopefully should be able to get him back. Should be pretty cheap. 1 year, $880,000. I'm going to give him $900,000. Hopefully he will take that, and he will not. So there is our first rejected offer. Next up, we're going to go after Pierre Desir. That makes it a little bit more important to try and get him since Lawson doesn't want to come back. So I'm going to offer him a little bit more. I'm going to give him $1.1 million. He wants $1.03, so I feel like that should be enough. Let's see, though, is that going to be enough to get him back? And no, it is not. So he is going to reject. I'm not going to offer George Selfie a contract. So the next one we're going to go after is going to be McDonald, a backup at left tackle, and we're going to offer him $1 million. And finally we get somebody to accept. So, all right, I'm going to pass on Bryce Butler. Robert Griffin III, thought about re-signing him, but he wants way too much money. 3 years and $13.6 million. That is just way, way too much that I'm willing to pay him. So next up is going to be Denard Robinson. He wants 1 year, $810,000. I'm going to give him $900,000. As hopefully we can get some of these guys, and he will accept that offer. We got to get some of these guys to come in at a bit cheaper so we can have enough money to spread around. We do have a lot of money to start out. We have $48 million in cap space, but that's going to disappear pretty quickly. But Corey Rambo is going to reject our offer, so it looks like we have more rejections than acceptance. Jaron Brown, we brought him in midway through the season. I liked him, so I'm going to give him $900,000, and he is not going to accept that one either. I'm not going to re-sign Clive Walford. He is now 3rd on the depth chart. No point spending the money on him. Mario Edwards Jr., I am going to bring him back. He wants 5 years, $11 million. I'm actually going to give him 15. I want to make sure this guy re-signs. He is a solid backup at defensive end. So I'm going to give him his earned money. He is going to accept that one. Not going to re-sign Nate Allen. We're going to move on now. Dan Williams, and this becomes a huge re-signing considering Alan Branch retired. So we are going to offer him $6.5 million, and we'll see if he accepts that. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, he wants 1 year, $8.69. I thought about not re-signing him, but I'm just going to re-sign him. Maybe we can use him as trade bait later on, or at least he is going to provide a little depth at corner. Brandon Cooks is going to be the big signing here with Amari Cooper coming up next, but he wants $39.9. I'm going to give him 40. What do we end up on here? $42.5 million. I want to make sure we bring this guy back, and he is going to accept. Looks like Williams accepted as well. And then Cooper here, and another broken thing with this game, the guys do not ask for enough money, so I'm actually going to go way above for Amari Cooper. I'm going to offer him $47.5, which still is a steal. Actually, we are going to end up moving that up to 50 even. Still a steal for Amari Cooper, 89 overall. He is going to accept that. And then Marcel Reese will be the final guy we offer. 2 years, $2 million. It's going to end up being a $5 million total contract, and he is going to reject it. So this is what we have. All of these guys here are going to be headed to free agency. Maybe we go back and try and sign some of these guys. Some of the ones that we're not interested, we can maybe go back after them here in free agency, but at least these are the guys that we're going to be letting go, and we will now move into free agency. We have got a lot of guys to sign here. We've got a lot of holes in this team, so we got to be smart, make some good decisions as we move on here. Here we are, free agency. I'm going to start this by hitting the big positions that have the greatest need. So looking at the team, we need a backup QB. We need a 3rd tight end, most likely. We need somebody there to pair with those guys. And then corner, we need a couple corners, but that's something we are going to focus on in the draft. Strong safety, we need a backup there. We have Haha, who plays strong safety, but we need a second strong safety. And then punter, obviously, we need a punter. And then there's some other positions we obviously need as well. But looking at the overall highest-rated players, there's Marcel Reese at 94 overall, one of the highest-rated players in the entire free agent pool. But quarterback, Marcus Mariota has become a quarterback. He wants a lot of money. Matt Ryan, and he actually should get it because he is much better than anyone else in this list. Cannot believe that the Titans let him go. But looking for a backup, I see a couple names that are interesting. Brett Hundley, Colin Kaepernick. We got Osweiler. Kirk Cousins is a free agent as well. Halfback Melvin Gordon's the top rated with Mark Ingram. Todd Gurley on that list. We really aren't in the market for a halfback. Tevin Coleman there, Ryan Matthews. Langford, we're not really in the market for a halfback, but obviously, you know, there might be some changes there, so we have to pay attention to that. Maybe we can pick one up later on. But Marcel Reese is the top-rated fullback. But this is where we're going to make our first choice, and Will Johnson is actually a similarly rated fullback, but a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to give an offer out to him. Wide receiver, there's some good wide receivers out here. You got Perriman, Dontre Moncrief, Dorial Green-Beckham. That's an interesting guy there. Jalen Strong, Latimer, Parker. But I am going to end up finding one name here, Devin Funchess. And this guy seems, scheme fit is there with the West Coast, but I think he could be a nice addition to this team as we could use another big wide receiver. We obviously have Tremaine Lucas, but he's not good enough to see the field enough. So Funchess might be a nice upgrade there. At tight end, there are definitely some options, but I don't think we're going to end up offering a tight end right now. Cornerback, there's a lot of cornerbacks, as there always is, but I am going to try and come back here and re-sign Pierre Desir. I liked what I saw from him. He's a nice depth corner. He had an interception, a couple of interceptions, I think, this season, and he's very, very cheap. So I'm going to offer him maybe a little bit more than we offered him in the re-sign period. And then for punter, nothing really special here. I'm going to end up offering Brad Wing. He's got good power. That's really all we're looking for in a punter. So he's also cheap as well, which makes it even better, as we got to try and save as much money as we're at right now. We only have $13.7 million in cap space left. We spent that pretty quickly during the re-sign player period. But looking at the QBs, I'm going to end up offering, I think, Colin Kaepernick. He's got 95 throw power. He's got the speed. Kind of, I don't know if he's maybe a better version of RG3, but gives us just a different look in terms of the comparison between him and Moss, because Moss does not run it as well. And then looking at strong safety, I'm going to find somebody here, Duron Harmon. This guy has got some nice attributes, and he's not a lot of money, so I'm going to give an offer to him. So we got the fullback Johnson, we got Harmon, we got Kaepernick, we got Wing, we got Funchess. And then the final one, as I think we're going to be in the lead for all these, and a lot of them only have one bid. Funchess, I think, has the most bids at 4, and then we have Pierre Desir, who's got 2 offers. So it looks like we're doing pretty good here. We're going to advance. It's all I'm going to offer in this first this first week of the offseason. But as we move on, Harmon is going to be the only guy that accepts, so we have our backup strong safety. So I will take that. We go back in here, and we are still in the lead, I think, for all these guys. Kaepernick, still the only bid. Funchess has 8 bids, but we're still in the lead there, so that's good to see. Wing, only offer, and Desir, he's down to 1 offer. He's lost his other offer. So I'm actually not going to make any other offers right now because the cap space is kind of tight. I don't want to do anything else until we know if we're going to get these guys, and we only get Desir. I was hoping to get more acceptance than that. So this is what we have here. Looks like we're still in the lead for all these guys, but we need to go back and look at some corners. So Darquez Dennard is the guy we tried to trade for during the season. He's got some pretty good attributes. Kyle Fuller, another guy that I looked at. He's got some nice speed. We need a little bit more speedy backs, but still the coverage has to be there. Trey Waynes, this was the guy we looked at, the fastest corner in the league at 95 speed, but he does not really fit our scheme. He's a 3-4 corner, so I don't really know if that is going to work. But I am actually, as I'm looking through all these corners, I do land on a name here, and this one is an interesting one. I've never seen him before. Brandon Boykin, he has got 89 speed, but 94 agility, 93 acceleration. He has got 90-man coverage, and most of all, he fits the scheme. A smaller corner at 5'10", but in comparison to Trey Waynes, who does have a little more speed, he has got really, really good agility and acceleration, which I think is really what we need, and maybe even better necessarily than the top-end speed. So I'm going to offer him a contract, so this is what we're going with, and we'll see now who are we going to get. Do we get everybody, nobody, some of them? I hope we get at least some of them, because we really, really need these guys. So let's go advance, and who are we going to get? Looks like we got all of them. All right, Devin Funchess is going to accept. Boykin accepts. Wing accepts. Kaepernick, Johnson, everybody has accepted. And, of course, we do still have some holes, but we're just going to have to address those in the draft. So, now let's take a look at some highlights from the signings. Brett Hundley is going to sign with the Cardinals. I also saw Clive Walford on that list. Reggie Bush and Matt Ryan, so they're going to get some old guys there in New York with the Giants. The Jets are going to grab Victor Cruz. They grab Lincoln Tomlinson. They also grab Marquette King, our punter, Malcolm Butler, and Todd Gurley is going to sign with the Jets. So the Jets getting a lot of guys in free agency. Mark Ingram is going to sign with the Rams. so he's going to take Todd Gurley's spot. They also grabbed Jimmy Graham for $60 million. Marcus Mariota is going to go to the Redskins, $127 million. I think he was only asking for like 80-something, so they go way over the top to grab him. Ryan Shazier, Louis Nick's going to sign with them as well. The Saints are going to get Golden Tate, Donovan Smith. They're going to grab Isaiah Crowell as well. So not a lot of highlights, not really not a lot of big name players in free agency this year, but that is where we're at here. That's the end of free agency. Next up is the draft, and I haven't spent a ton of time really paying attention to our draft board, so before I record the next episode, I'm going to go through, get everybody on my watch list that we need to look at, and then I'm going to show you that at the start of the next episode before we get into the draft, just so you can kind of see who we're looking at, some of the players that are going to be available. There are a lot of cornerbacks graded out in the first round, so I think we're going to be able to pick somebody there. We're definitely going to be focusing on that, but then we'll also take a look at what other positions we need to look at. We definitely need some depth in the linebacker position, D-tackle. We probably need another corner beyond the one that we grabbed, some offensive line stuff there, so we'll look at all that before we get into the draft. But then it's the draft, and then we will be into our next season. So that's going to be for this one. If you enjoyed it, please go and give it a like. I really appreciate it, and subscribe to see any future videos that I make. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.